All right, guys, welcome back. We are now 4 weeks into ACL surgery, and this is where things start to get pretty interesting. You could be making some mistakes right now that might double your recovery time. So let's talk about how to make sure that doesn't happen. We're going to cover some key areas you should focus on in week 4. Getting 90 degrees of flexion, how to properly wean off crutches, why quad activation is still really important, and how to prevent stiffness as we transition to the next phase of rehab. And at the end of this video, we'll review a full week 4 recovery checklist so you know exactly what to focus on. First up, knee flexion. Now this is going to vary depending on your procedure, but for me, I should be nearing around 90 degrees of knee bend at this point. And trust me, if you don't work on it now, you're setting up for months of stiffness and frustration. So how do we get there? Here are some great drills to do it safely and effectively. Heel slides, where you sit on your back and you slide your heels towards your glutes. Wall slides, where you lay on your back and let gravity pull your knee down into flexion. And then gravity assisted knee flexion off of the side of a couch or a bed, where you allow your other leg to guide your foot down as gravity brings it down as well. Now let's talk about what not to do. So you don't want to avoid knee flexion or bending just because it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's going to feel tight. Yes, it might ache, but the more you avoid it, the harder it's going to get. Secondly, don't force the stretch too hard or get too aggressive. Swelling and inflammation may start working against you if you start doing it too intensely. Here's a pro tip. Use low load, long duration stretching instead of aggressively yanking on your knee. Holding a stretch for 2 to 3 minutes plus will get you much better results than short, aggressive, painful pushes. Just stay patient and trust the process. So are you actually ready to get rid of your crutches? A lot of people rush this part, and that's kind of where the problems begin. For my protocol, it's time to start getting rid of the crutches, full weight bearing with the brace unlocked to 90 degrees so it still provides some support at a certain level of knee bend. But you want to make sure that you have good quad control and have a couple other criteria before you really just get rid of those crutches. So here are some ways to make sure that you're actually ready. Your quad should be firing well so that it can support your full body weight. Ensure that you can walk without limping or shifting weight to the uninjured leg. You should be able to do multiple straight leg raises without a quad lag or without your lower leg lagging behind. And then finally, you want good heel to toe walking mechanics. So pay attention to how you're stepping, and you don't want any compensations or dragging your leg behind. One of the biggest issues I see is people trying to rush this phase and get rid of crutches too soon and then develop bad habits out of that. If you need to crutch for a little bit longer just to maintain proper form, absolutely do it. Proper mechanics now equal better movement later. So this theme is going to continue throughout rehab, but your quadriceps are still very, very important. At this stage, your quad is going to be still slightly inhibited, so you might be able to do small motion, or you might look like you're activating it, but we're not activating it to the fullest extent, and maybe not in the proper way. And if we don't fix that, literally everything from your gait or your strength or your control during certain movements are all going to suffer. So here are some great movements to keep that quad strong and to prevent any issues as we progress through rehab. If you haven't been walking much or putting much weight on the involved leg, weight shifting is where I would begin. Just gradually standing and placing some weight on the one leg and some weight on the other leg, allowing that leg to get used to putting your full body weight on it. Then we can progress to a single leg stance where we're only standing on the involved leg. We're also going to work on ambulation or walking without crutches. Even though we don't have the crutches though, we still have the brace to help catch us just in case. It'll also help support our knee and reinforce proper gait or walking mechanics. Additionally, instead of just traditional quad sets, short arc or long arc quad sets or knee extension can allow our muscles to start getting stronger through new ranges of motion. We also don't want to neglect our calves, so doing two-legged standing calf raises can be a great way to start waking our calves back up. And then of course we want to continue those knee flexion drills that we talked about earlier, making sure that our quad is staying extensible and that our knee is not locking up and getting stiff. What not to do: don't rush into heavily loaded or resistance exercises if your quad isn't quite ready. Limping or avoiding full range of motion when we're walking or during our gait, and then not keeping our knee extended when we're resting. If you don't have these week 4 fundamentals down, you may struggle big time as we start moving forward. All right, so let's recap. Here's your week 4 ACL recovery checklist. Hit 90 degrees of knee flexion. Controlled stretching is a key. Start weaning off crutches, but only if you meet the criteria, and still use the brace for now. And prioritize quad activation with long arc quads or knee extension, neuromuscular electrical stimulation, and straight leg raises to make sure that they stay active and they continue getting stronger. Finally, prevent stiffness by focusing on mobility drills and positioning of our knee whenever we're in a rested position. Lock these in and you'll be sitting pretty for the next stage. All right, so that sums it up for this week. As always, thanks for tuning in. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below and I will see you next week. Thanks.